Josh, welcome to you. So Waltz is out as National Security Advisor and now heading to the United Nations. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will serve as acting National Secretary Advisor, or National Security Advisor rather. Your initial thoughts, Josh, and also as you give us your initial thoughts, can you tell us why now?
Well, only the folks in the White House can tell us why now. But clearly, the president wants to make a change. We've had this opening at the UN since Elise Stefanik's name was withdrawn. The White House said that was because they didn't want to weaken the Republican majority in the House any further. Mike Waltz, a decorated soldier, a special forces soldier. Served a long time in Congress with distinction, a great and articulate spokesman for America's values and certainly for the Trump administration's policies. And so putting him at the UN certainly makes a lot of sense, particularly if the president wants to make a change in the National Security Council. And having Secretary Rubio step in to play that role is certainly a good thing. As you know, John, we've got enormous stakes happening now with the negotiations with Iran, with the issue between Russia and Ukraine, and of course, all that's taking place with China, and then of course bilateral relations around the world with the tariffs and other issues going on. So having Secretary Rubio play a coordinating role as well as be a policy leader in the White House and for the State Department makes sense. And having Mike Waltz up in New York as a spokesman for the U.S. and for our policies also does. How much it relates to the signal snafu, only the president could tell us.
You said Marco Rubio moving into this role kind of makes sense, but how uncommon is it for someone who serves as Secretary of State to also be the National Security Advisor, even if it's acting? I think the last time we saw this was maybe in the 1970s with Henry Kissinger?
Yeah, it is unusual. Henry Kissinger, as you know, played a very important role in American foreign policy and American national security. I think it speaks to the close relationship and growing trust and relationship that exists between Secretary Rubio and the president, that he would choose to have the secretary come in and play this important coordinating role among all the foreign policy, national security, intelligence apparatus of the government, and also lead America's foreign policy as our top diplomat. This, of course, takes place against the background in which Mr. Witkoff has been engaging in talks with Iran, with other parties around the world that are quite fraught and extraordinarily important to America's security, to that of our closest ally, Israel, and to other Arab allies in the region who are also threatened by the Islamic Republic of Iran. So having Secretary Rubio in that role, very unusual, no question about it, but it does make a certain amount of sense for an administration that likes to do things in its own way.
Josh, just a few seconds left in a sentence or two. We heard earlier in the day of potential other departures. Do you think that there might be other people on the chopping block?
Well, it's certainly possible. We've heard that the deputy Alex Wong might be on his way out. Whether he'll get another assignment in the government or out, one can only speculate. And certainly we've seen departures from other parts of the NSC and from the DOD in recent weeks, some for ideological infighting reasons and other for policy reasons. Hopefully we'll see growing stability and wise counsel for this president going forward.
All right, Josh Block, we're going to have to leave it there with the Hudson Institute. Thanks, Josh, for being with us.